Everybody is trying to get Darth Revan right now, but what if I told you there's an even better thing you can get right now that is super easy? Do you have a once-in-a-lifetime offer to get in on this before it expires? We are less than 150 subscribers away from 100,000. My goodness. This offer is super limited, guys. Hit the subscribe button so you can say you were here before Arnold was 100,000. I was there. I was there for you, Arnold. And while you guys are smashing that subscribe button right now to get joined up, I got some news to share with you guys. Well, let's get to the exciting stuff first. Obviously, if you haven't seen it by now, we're playing it in the background, the Darth Revan trailer. My goodness, it gave me goosebumps. And I'm not the biggest KOTOR. I didn't grow up with KOTOR. People who grew up with KOTOR, they are probably so nostalgic and so happy about this. Me, I didn't know about KOTOR until I played Galaxy of Heroes, and I am more excited about Darth Revan than Jedi Revan for the longest time in this game. So I am looking forward to this, and if you guys don't know how KOTOR operates, it's kind of like how Fallout is. You can take a good path or evil path, and it looks like for this journey, we're taking the evil path. For example, that Juhani battle you guys saw in the game, you can take a good route, or you can kill her off and go the dark side route. So it's really cool to see it. Now we're going down the dark avenue for Darth Revan for this particular journey. Even all these characters you have to get, Bastila, Shan, HK-47, Candace, yada yada yada, they all interacted with Revan one way or another. And the biggest thing that people are pointing out right now is like, hey, where's the purple lightsaber? And I think this might be indication we might get Revan reborn sometime in the future. But regardless, that's going to be a whole other point of conversation. Right now, we know that Darth Revan's coming without the purple lightsaber, which leaves a lot of room for speculation. So very excited for that. We don't know when this event is happening. They originally said on Twitter the 21st, and then Carrie apologized on Reddit, and there was a post made on the forums that it's probably not going to happen on the 21st. There's a chance it could happen, but they're saying it's going to be sometime in the next 1 to 2 weeks, barring any major issues. So it looks like there was a little mistake. We don't know when it's happening, but it's going to happen sometime soon. But regardless, we still don't know much about the Darth Revan kit, but we got a little teaser right here. If you guys didn't see it, with the newsletter, kind of popped up, and some people click away from this right away, but it has some important things. Let's read through it real quick if you haven't seen it yet. Have you heard the tale? The Jedi who left to investigate the rumors of a Sith Empire and returned as a Sith Lord. After using the Starforge to create a massive fleet, Darth Revan has returned to crush the Republic and defeat the Jedi once and for all. Something Grievous couldn't do, but Darth Revan, it looks like, my golly, they're saying he's gonna crush the Jedi once and for all. Darth Revan is a powerful leader who ruthlessly drives a team with a new debuff called Ferocity, which sacrifices defense in more favor of offense. And Darth Revan is particularly adept at defeating enemy leaders while striking a new debuff, Fear, into the hearts of his enemy. My goodness, reading that right there is it definitely gets the goosebumps going on your skin a little bit. So a couple things to pull out of this. We're gonna get a character that apparently is supposed to defeat the Jedi. Obviously, Jedi running rampant for a long time now. Jedi Knight Revan has broken the game, and they're officially 90%. Jedi Revan's 90% of the arena meta right now. We've already said it's been a record. This is just mind-boggling huge. So I think maybe we could start relying on that speculation that Darth Revan, a Hero's Journey character, and every Hero's Journey character has been so important for this game, or a Journey character, I should say, in general, has been very important in this game. So there's almost no doubt in my mind this is going to be the Jedi counter, since they said it right here, and Journey characters, they're always no joke in this game. 3 Zeta characters are significant. And then we got all this stuff, Fear and Ferocity. I'm really curious to see how he's adept at defeating leaders. Maybe he has an ability, I don't know, he applies it and their leader ability just turns off. Oh man, imagine if Jedi, they're an okay team that are just very good under the supercharged kitchen sink Jedi Knight Revan. Imagine if Darth Revan, through Fear, he just kind of scares away the leader from the battle, and then it just shuts down the leader ability. Oh my goodness, I'm just going really wild right now, but it's getting ideas about how this could shut down or be adept against fighting leaders. So I'm very curious to see how this will be. I don't have any kit information. I don't know if we're going to get early access. We might not. So we're all going to be looking at this together when it goes live. So a couple days ago, when we found out that HK-47 and Bastila Shan were getting a rework, I made some speculation as to why that may be the case. We're going to hop over to the forum post in a second, but basically they said exactly what I said. The reason why they're reworking Bastila Shan Fallen is because they want to tweak her more towards the Darth Revan kit that's coming, because if they released her a couple months ago with no Darth Revan, it would make no sense. It would kind of indicate Darth Revan is in fact coming. So it looks like her rework isn't going to be major. It's just going to be kind of tuned. Kind of like how Trey and Shan came into the game. They kind of tweaked Nihilus a bit, so he kind of fits the rest of the tribe. It only makes sense to kind of do that. So that's something I kind of predicted. Again, if you haven't heard me already say this, if you're gearing up characters for Old Republic and you're not sure which ones to go hard on, Bastila Shan Fallen's the way to go. I geared it up to Geartold before the confirmation of a rework in Darth Revan, and it looks like she's going to be an important character for Darth Revan, especially how Darth Revan's going to interact with all these new debuffs he has going on. And the other character we got to talk about, not yet in the Old Republic tag, but the long-awaited HK-47 rework. A lot of people happy about it. We knew this for a while. And before we start talking about this is the sad news. I'm very sentimental about the HK-47 leadership because his leader ability, one of the original leaders in this game, so simple. Look at this, just a couple mere words, and this is by far the best unreworked old school leader that we have in this game, and it's so good that if you make a character that a droid character that's just a little bit too good, this leadership becomes a bit broken. I mean, I've shown lineups how HK-47 when T3 and 4 came out, how you were able to beat Emperor Palpatine. I've shown that in the past. I've shown how HK-47 kind of works a little bit better than General Grievous at times if you want a lot of bonus turns for Grievous to take. So this is a good character, but when we flip over to the forums, I get where they're getting at with why they have to rework HK-47, and I'm sad to say they're probably nerfing the leader because they're talking about refunding ability materials. So they already said that HK-47 is not going to become the droid meta people were hoping for, that Grievous couldn't do on the Reddit page a while ago. So I was already expecting that, but it looks like they're totally just reworking his leadership. I thought they would at least leave it in place. So SB Crumb, hi Holotable Heroes. I want to clarify a few things around the rework of HK-47 and the changes coming to Fallen Bastila Shan. In the case of HK, he will be receiving a rework in order to synergize with Darth Revan, and I've already said I think HK-47 maybe he'll get Death Mark if they keep Bastila Shan's unique the same. We'll read that in a moment again. But his current leader ability is very powerful, and left as is could create game-breaking teams with just a little synergy, as I've said and shown you guys in the past. And this is primarily due to how early in the game's life cycle his kit was developed and didn't account for all the fun and weird mechanics that would go on to add to the game. It's very hard to predict what they're doing today. Back then, they're using different tools and stuff like that. Totally understandable. So currently, this is what the HK limits in the game. His leader ability limits the space we have to design new characters or improve existing ones that would synergize with HK-47. And this leaves them with two choices. One, leave him as is and build characters that wouldn't interact with HK-47, i.e. the B1 Battle Droid. They didn't give B1 Battle Droid critical damage synergy or any critical damage because he would just keep using his AoE ability over and over and over again, creating a loop. And Droidica as well, that didn't get any critical damage stuff in there. And if they leave him as is, they would leave an awesome fan favorite to languish for eternity. So that's option number one. You just don't rework this character and leave him as is, and you know he's not that good outside of his leader role. Or they could rework his leader ability along with the rest of his kit, and they went down number two as the best option. And the changes to abilities are significant enough that we will be resetting and returning all ability materials that were used on HK-47's leadership. When it comes to reworks, generally we try to improve older characters and revitalize usefulness, but it's not as simple as improving a few stats. Often we have to rethink how this character fits in the game that has changed significantly, and in most cases we believe we have succeeded in making these improvements. Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader, no General Grievous in there. So HK-47 doesn't have a Zeta on here. It's just a couple of, I think it had a couple of Omega mats on there. So a couple of Omegas. People are starved for those sometimes. So it is going to be kind of nice. So again, if they're refunding something, generally it's going to be, it's not going to be as good as people are hoping for. It's not going to be as good as before. So I'm expecting HK-47. I mean, it makes a bit sense in the lore. HK-47 isn't really a leader. He's more of just Darth Revan's henchman, his buddy, the guy to kind of, he's an assassin droid. He's meant to take out targets. I feel like he's going to be a very good character, but mostly for Darth Revan and not for the Jedi. So it looks like if you're going to want a good droid team, you're going to have to go towards General Grievous. That's going to be your best droid leader going forward, and he's not a horrible character, but he's not as good as, you know, we were kind of hoping. So I'm going to reserve most of my judgments for HK-47. I'm not going to say don't gear him up. You're going to have to farm him if you want to get Darth Revan. I think he will be a great character in the end if you have Darth Revan, so we'll wait and see. I'm excited to see what the changes they're going to make. He won't be the leader that's kind of a cute little leader that stood the test of time a bit, but going forward, he might be one of the most important characters for a Darth Revan team. So let's not judge too hard on this character. It still might be a very good character, but just repurposed for something else. So let's read what they had to say about Bastila Shan, an already good character that I think will be a cornerstone character for a Darth Revan team like Yoda is for a Jedi Knight Revan team. And they say the changes to Bastila Shan are fairly minor in comparison to HK-47, but are also intended to improve her synergy in a Darth Revan team. So again, if I told you guys, if you're trying to gear up someone as much as possible, Bastila Shan seems to be the no-brainer, because one, she's already good, and two, they're already saying is that she's meant to improve the synergy of a Darth Revan team, and Bastila will have a new unique, and we are adding the new Fear debuff to one of her special abilities, and these minor changes were made to align with her Darth Revan's release, so they don't actually constitute a rework in the traditional sense, but rather highlight the bond between these two characters by simply introducing more synergies. But the last thing we gotta talk about that they briefly mentioned about was the Finn rework. Now, we talked about this a while ago. They already had Plan 1.0 for what they're gonna do with the Finn rework that they announced publicly. We made a video about it, and there was already some uproar about it. I said, you know, this could be good or could be bad. His kit improved in a lot of ways, and it got retracted in a couple of ways. Well, when we hop on the forum, they updated the situation for Finn. Basically, on the forums, now they're saying that those changes they made, well, yeah, now we found out we created a loop for Phase 1 of the Sith raid. So people were complaining about how Phase 3 won't be able to be looped. Well, it looked like that rework that we already had, he would have been great for Phase 1. They can't talk about reworks and not mention what's happening with Z-Fin. People keep asking, when's this dropping? And I'm like, I don't know, your guess is as good as mine. We are still investigating the rework to Z-Fin's leader ability to prevent infinite loops. We had shared a possible solution previously, as we talked about, which is meant to close up Phase 3 in that loop. In further testing, we realized we inadvertently added a new trivializing loop to Phase 1. So we are taking another pass at solving this interaction. We apologize that this fix is taking longer than expected, but we are hoping to have an update that we can share soon. So, and let me go down a bit more. They didn't add anything about compensation for Z-Fin yet because we found additional issues, but they're going to reevaluate the refund status once they know how they intend to fix them. In short, it's not off the table, but they'll decide once the changes are finally made, they'll decide whether or not a refund should be granted. For me personally, right now, I'm a bit Zeta poor. I could use a couple more Zetas for Darth Revan, HK-47, and Bastila Shan. A lot of stuff. We're starting to learn bits and pieces of the new Darth Revan stuff, this anti-Jedi thing, and just I'm wondering if at the very end of this journey event, you're going to face off Darth Malak. I know people are really hoping for Darth Malak to be added to the game. I'm hoping at the minimum we fight him in the last tier, because that's how it all comes down. I mean, you guys probably know the story. If you guys don't, basically Malak and Revan ran the galaxy. Malak screws him over. Revan has his memory wiped. He kind of relearns everything, and he comes back to fight Malak in the very end. So that'd be kind of cool if that's how they wrap up the journey. And maybe I'm hoping they add Malak in the future. I don't think we're done with KOTOR content yet. They have so many other characters. They can add Malak, so many other guys in between, maybe even some ships and stuff like that. So don't expect this to be the end, because there's got to be a third Darth Revan now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like the video if you did enjoy. Comment down below and be sure to subscribe so you can try to get under that 100K club. And we will talk again very soon.
Party Richter, Party Richter. Down, 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 down. Party Richter, Party Richter. Son of a bitch. Party Richter, Party Richter. Down, down, down.